guys. Hey, butterflies. Welcome back to Alchemy Doctress with me, Doctress Monica Nicole. So, we are back with another conversation. Oh my gosh, yesterday was such a beautiful day, and I don't even know how to put it, like, because there was like a common theme of like an energy, like the underlying energy of the day yesterday. And I really wanted to talk about that because it's also something that I find myself in the current cycle that I'm shifting in of being in the same space of, right? And so I'm sure that a lot of you all, if you clicked on this video, you are also in a place similar to this, okay? And so yesterday I graduated another monthly coaching client. And when I tell you I am so proud of her, oh my gosh, and her birthday is tomorrow. Um, I try not to reveal people's names and stuff unless they reveal themselves, and so I just put initials. But SL, I put it on the community tab. But I am so proud for her because her journey with me began shortly after she had a stroke, and we got to see her process from gaining everything back, shifting her subconscious, shifting her reality, um, shifting her reality within her business, her work, and seeing how it has her in such a flow in just every area of her life now, right? And so now we're in a maintenance phase where, because we always say you never get rid of like your support, you have it there. It's like a maintenance when needed versus having it as often, right? That's the goal. And that was like, I feel like when my clients win, it's a win for me. Like I feel good on the inside because like, dang, like, yes, that's a leader. A leader creates other leaders. You get what I'm saying? And helps teach other leaders. But then also yesterday we had our Unlocking Your Subconscious Wealth Code class. So shout out to the butterflies who were there last night. It was a very long class. I realized I'm gonna have to start class a little bit earlier than what we have because we were on there for about 3.5 hours. If you're interested in the replay, you can still enroll for the class on the web on my website at monaco.com. But a common theme with both of what we got into within a piece of that class is when our wealth code, we don't understand that we're programmed psychologically and mentally to be and do things a certain way, and that creates a certain outcome, right? So when we're in a certain cycle, we repeat that cycle, okay? And in us repeating that cycle, everything like flows and happens on a cycle until we disrupt that cycle, until we change the cycle psychologically, physically, emotionally, all of that, right? So, what that means is, though, one thing that many people are not oftentimes prepared for is what comes with disrupting a cycle in our life. Okay, let's talk about that because disrupting a cycle in our life is not all this peaceful, happy go lucky roses. It's usually painful. It's like ripping off the tape off your lips or off your face, ripping the tape off sometimes. It can feel like that because you're literally going in and changing something that you've always known to be a certain way. So when you're changing that entire system, changing that entire equation, it's a disruption. It's a disruption to your current programming, to what you currently know. So what happens is that your subconscious, your ego, your id, it needs to protect itself. And the way it protects itself is to try to recorrect itself back to what it knows to be familiar. Okay. So, for example, how that relates to the phase of where I'm at, right? So, you all know that I shifted how I did content on this channel, right? So, in that shift came a decline in views. Okay. And so that decline in views can look like something shattering, right? Because the system is changing. It's not the same flow of what I was doing and creating. So for the system to correct itself, sorry. And I did a tester on this, okay, and it proved my point. By connecting back to that old energy, would it bring in that reward again, right? So the recorrecting of the system. And that's exactly what it did. We have to know that when we're disrupting a system, when we're changing something, when we're doing something different from what we're used to, it's like it's painful, but the system around us has to now, it's either going to try to recorrect or you're going to have to work hard to rebuild an entirely new loop. Either you give it enough power for it to recorrect it and you go back to what you know, back to what is familiar, back to what you came from, okay? Or you continue building that new loop and work through that pain point because you know that that pain point won't be there forever. And that's one thing that life has always taught me is that difficult times don't last forever, right? And one of the big things mentally that working out and having a consistent workout routine is doing for me mentally is knowing that like that pain or what I'm feeling, it's actually just the resistance of my body saying this is too difficult and it just needs to catch on to the fact that it can do it. Okay? It's not too much. It's just something that it's not used to. It's something that is not normal for it. Okay? So it's going to have this feeling of not being good because we want to protect ourselves. We want to protect how we feel, how we've psychologically registered something bad happening, right? So now let's go back to the subconscious programming because the subconscious programming, a lot of times we're told that if something bad is happening in our life, it means that we're being punished. It means that, oh, I'm not doing something right. I'm doing something wrong. I'm being punished right now because this isn't working for me or this bad thing is happening, right? So then we find ourselves trying to course correct again, right? To get in alignment with the mass that we're saying that we're getting away from. But in reality, when we shift our internal code, part of that wealth code, right? And I teach that in the class. When we're getting away from shifting from that code, we got to understand that we're ripping that old belief away. So the old belief said that if something bad happens, then I'm doing something wrong. You know what I'm saying? But in this sense, if something bad is happening, it's because something has been disrupted and it's no longer in flow anymore, right? So everything is getting back into alignment with what is in flow. I've disrupted what I always knew, what I was in alignment with. I'm no longer in alignment with certain things anymore, right? And so it's recorrecting and re-identifying and targeting those who need to find it. You get what I'm saying? Ooh, I got food in my tooth. Um, y'all, this is my divine femininity tea. It's so freaking good. I'm on my monthly child, and it's nice and peaceful, nice and just yes. Y'all hear the bird? Oh my gosh, it's a beautiful cardinal. Hey, baby. He just flew up to the feeder. I have the feeder on the balcony now versus all the way up because I got tired of them knocking the seeds down on the ground. And so now that it's been down on the thing, oh my gosh, y'all, he just came and looked at me. But now that it's down on the thing or whatever, they can just sit on the balcony and eat it. He just flew away because I was doing too much moving. But anyway, that gives a vibe of like just confirmation of just that masculine energy too. Um, when we're making a change, something, so if things were going good or whatever the case in a way, if we're making a change, of course it's going to look like the opposite, right? It's going to look like things are falling apart because technically the past thing that you knew is falling apart. The past thing that you're walking away from is falling apart. But in the falling apart, other things are being built. And so that's where the mindset shift has to come in at, where yes, this is happening. Yes, oh my gosh, this bad thing is happening. This bad thing is happening. This bad thing is happening. Maybe it's because the old life that you knew is no longer anymore, and it's all restructuring itself. It's all reorganizing itself. It's all recalibrating itself. So it may feel like and look like it's falling apart right now, but it's really falling back together. And you're going to see that in due time. And time is not going to be as long as what you may think it is, but your subconscious, in a way, has you feeling like this feeling is going to be forever, right? When we're working out, when we're going through those difficult workouts, we feel like that pain is going to be forever. But as soon as you get done with that workout in that hour, you're just like, oh my gosh, like I feel so good. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have those moments where it seems like things are falling apart, but it's because it's really recalibrating to come back together. But you got to go through the process and hold your frequency. Don't change your frequency in the midst of uncertainty. Don't change your frequency in the midst of uncertainty, because that uncertainty is nothing but a test to see if you're going to run back to the comfort that you knew. Are you going to run back inside to the comfort that you knew, or are you going to build a boat? I don't know why I'm thinking about on um the Truman Show, and how once he really started to realize that like something wasn't up right with his life, when he started to really realize that he was just like in this loop of a show, and he realized like every time he tried to make an escape to get out or to do something different, something would happen. It'd be traffic, or he'll be stopped, or a crew of people will come get him and pull him back, or like it will always be something. And then it even went to the extent that they instilled the fear of water in him, because water was the one way of really getting out. So if he had this fear of water that's been instilled in him since youth, he'll never follow that fear to get out of it. You get what I'm saying? And so that time when he finally decided to face that fear and got to the edge of the water to find that his whole life was a lie. You know, he was on the island and it wasn't real. And at the ledge of the water was a platform for him to be able to walk on to exit. So that fear that he had, that raging storm that they created and put him through, because they wanted to auto recorrect him to go back to his life, right? They didn't want him to escape that matrix of a system that he was in, of the show, right? So they had to create the chaos, the problems for him to want to go back and not want to exit. That's what the problems in our life are like. It's like they happen to make you question yourself, to be like, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Or, and you know, we see that show up in a lot of ways. It could be that we hold a boundary with someone, and, you know, they get upset at the boundary that we set for them, and they still try to put their own boundary in there, whatever the case is. So when you set the boundary and they try to hold it against you, like, well, I said X, Y, and Z, like you're supposed to accept if they want to accept it or not. You get what I'm saying? Um, it's to try to pull you back into a space. That's the big piece of all of this. 444. So try to pull you back into a space that you're getting out of. And most times the way out of it and away from it is through that chaos and that storm, because the chaos and the storm isn't really real. It looks real, but it's not real. It looks real, but it's not real. It's meant to see how determined are you to get past this illusion or this part of yourself that's no longer you. Are you willing to hold your frequency through this to show that you're really serious about this change that you're making. You know what I'm saying? Because once you get on the other side of that storm, you're on the other side of the storm. It's back up again. But can you hold your frequency when the storm is there? So this is why it starts to feel like everything is falling apart, because things are actually coming together in alignment with this new shift of what you're in. You don't do the same things you used to do. You don't attract the same things you used to attract. You don't talk about the same things that you used to talk about. So you're going to attract different things. But what you got to understand is that when you are still in the same space and system as the old cycle, you're going to feel like you're being punished, because you got to realize that most of the energy in that old cycle is still there. They, just because you shifted and changed don't mean that it did or they did. You get what I'm saying? So you have to allow time for things to reorganize, recalibrate. Oh, excuse me. Let's see if the birdie flew away. You have to allow it time to get back balanced and organized. And in a way, it's like, and letting the experiences that do align with your new frequency to find you. Letting those new situations be able to find you. And the way they'll be able to find you is by literally you exuding out the energy of this new frequency and holding it even through the tough times. And you'll be good. You'll be totally fine. This too shall pass. This too shall pass. It's nothing but something that's been conditioned inside of you to make you not want to question the norm, to make you want to keep chasing the reward that was given to you once before. So if the reward was given to you for doing this, of course you're going to be punished for not doing that, right? So as you go against what you would be getting rewarded for, it's going to feel like you're being punished because you're not going for it anymore. But in reality, you're just shifting your frequency and what you pull in or call in, I guess you could say. It is a lot of bugs out here. I've been looking at spiders. There's some down here crawling, child. Mm. The bugs is outside, honey. Okay, they is outside. But I'm trying to see, is there anything else that I want to add to this conversation? I want to hear from you all down below, though, um, in regards to just this process and this happening. How are you handling the shifts, right? But then also, how can you better integrate the shift of the chaos into your transition? So you don't have to become separate from it, just incorporate it some kind of way. Like identify how it can be incorporated into your space and what you do, or through that reflection. You get what I'm saying? Because it's always going to happen when you're disrupting a system. It's not something that you can run from. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always going to be there. So that is the message, y'all. I thank y'all for being here. Feel free to check out the links and things down below to my class session, to the Butterfly Alchemy Coaching Program. It's an 8-week coaching intensive programming. Um, so definitely check that out down below. And as always be real, always be true. Don't be afraid to do what your higher self and your spirit team is calling for you to do. Period. I thank you all for being here. Love you. Bye.